all situations when it comes to flooring, it can be fixed.
There's always an answer.
There's an answer. There's a solution for why everything happens.
Yeah.
And I think it's important when there's a problem, is you look at it from the customer's perspective. So, if you buy say you buy a fridge from a retailer and the fridge isn't working, as long as you know they're going to help you out to fix the fridge, you're comfortable to go through the process. But if you don't hear anything, if you shut out, then you're going to get angry and have a problem. So it's really important to establish that relationship, keep the customer informed of what you're doing, and provide a solution at the end.
My name's Aaron. I'm the General Manager here at Premrest for cleaning. Next to me we've got Colin Saddington, one of the directors at Premrest, who's been around in the industry for 38 years.
30-something years.
30-something years.
30 years.
Good. You're going to need to hold that mic closer to you. They can't hear you out there in the interwebs. And
showing my 30 years.
It is really showing your 30 years. And we've also got a special guest today, Bob Foletta, who is the Technical Field Services Manager for Asia Pacific over at Interface. And the reason Colin's here today, he'll just ad-lib and join in on the conversation because he's been with Premrest for so long, he's had a lot to do with Bob over that 30-something years. Yeah. And so, we're excited to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Yeah. So, Bob, one of the reasons we rushed to get you in was because we heard that you were about to finish up. So you've also been in the industry for a while. How long have you been in the industry?
I've been in the industry now for 54 years.
54.
Wow. And all in a similar role around that technical...
No, I started up in Sydney. My wife was in my girlfriend and moved to Sydney, so I followed her up there, and her uncle had a carpet business.
Yep.
So I started working for him, and the first probably 20-odd years was installing carpets, vinyls, carpet tiles. Moved into some project management, but... I worked for myself for most of that time.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. And so then tell us a little bit about the role you have been performing at Interface and sort of what got you there.
Okay, so I was working, finished working for myself. I was employed by a company called Carpet Solutions. Mm-hmm. I was their project manager, and they were purchased by Interface. So I was still doing that same role, and the role I have now was split between two people in Interface. One left, so they both actually left, one to start their own business and one to retire, and they asked me to step into the role. So I've been doing that role ever since.
And what's the makeup of that role? So what's a day in the life of Bob?
What makes it interesting is anything can happen day to day.
And it probably will.
Yeah, because it's a lot of troubleshooting.
Yeah.
So, I'll get a phone call out of the blue that, I've got this issue, or how do I do that? Or, and you help whether it's a customer or installer or even our staff. So you help them come to a solution on whatever their problem is. So it's predominantly problem solving.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess you've probably, given you've been in the industry for so long, you've been able to pick up bits and pieces along the way to figure out how to solve problems very creatively.
Correct. Yeah, it's been different to what happens in the industry now. During my time, I've done everything. I've done the installation of all the floor coverings, project management. I've done sales. I've been involved in a wide range of what happens in the flooring industry. So it's given me a lot of hands-on experience.
Yeah. And you've probably seen some changes in the industry. Like, what are some of the biggest changes you've seen in your time?
When I first started, all those years ago, we used to lay a lot of the flats or unit developments are up in Sydney, where we would just nail a plain batten around the floor, put some felt down, and then we would turn and tack the carpet. Joints were done with what they call pin tape at the time. Maybe a few people watching this may know what that is.
No, I don't know what pin tape is.
And then I remember hearing, what's this smooth edge thing and this heat bond tape? And so that's how far back that goes, and that made a big difference, especially for broadloom. Probably one of the biggest things is the move to modular carpet. Yeah. Modular carpet's always been around, but modular carpet just makes, and I suppose I sound like an interface salesperson at the moment,
Hey.
but it just makes so much sense.
It does.
Yes.
From ease of installation, loading buildings, just from sustainability purposes as well. So that's probably been the biggest changes.
I'm always shocked when I walk into a commercial facility, especially, and see that they've got broadloom. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's so much harder just to you get a stain you can't get out. You got to replace the whole thing rather than or cut it out.
Yeah, and see, when I started, go back 30 years ago, when I walked into a commercial building, it was prominently broadloom carpet.
Correct.
And there was carpet tiles here and there, but most of it was broadloom. I thought, well, why isn't everything carpet tiles? We even thought of it back then. Why isn't everything carpet tiles? Why do you need to? Because if you had to change a floor of carpet, if you look at like a workstation area, you'd have to remove all the workstations.
Yeah.
Everything, all the cupboards, everything will have to go off the floor so you can remove the carpet and then install the new broadloom.
Yeah, wow. And I guess you've probably seen lots of trends come and go in that time as well then. Are there any trends that you're so glad have left? Maybe even in just the modular space.
Yeah, I think, the biggest trend now is obviously sustainability and greenhouse, reduction of greenhouse gases and all that type of thing. That's really going to shape where the industry goes, especially with floorings with recycled content. So that's continually being developed across all the different manufacturers, and that's going to make a big impact because the customers are going to be looking for that.
Yeah. And are there any trends that you're glad have left the building?
Trends that I'm glad. I'm probably happy to see broadloom out and modular in. I mean, from an installation point of view, we used to load up and carry everything to a job site, but I know now everything's delivered on a job site, so it makes it far easier for installers. I don't think there's anything quite that drastic,
No colours or patterns that you're glad are gone?
There is. That's a bit of a challenge because interior designers are going for much lighter colours to lift the light,
the brightness,
the vibe, the ambience,
and this
the
is
vibrance.
This is where Premier come in, because they often put the light colours in the high traffic areas, and then I get a call saying, the carpet's soiling up. What's wrong with your carpet? It's actually, we might call a fit for purpose selection. You've got to put the right colour in the right foot traffic area. So people are still learning about that as well. And
architects are great, but they solely think about what it's going to look like at the end, and not really thinking about making it fit for purpose and who's going to be using this.
And that. What the appearance is understandable because they want that wow factor.
Yes, they want that wow factor.
And what they think they might go, we don't need to use as much lighting. We're going to save money on lighting, but they don't balance that with the extra maintenance cost it's going to take to have a light carpet in a high traffic area.
I still remember maybe about a year ago you giving us a call for a law firm, and they'd just put down a range of really light coloured carpet in their facility, but they'd launched their 3 levels, but they hadn't opened their kitchen yet, and their dining area, which was concrete flooring. And you'd call because they'd set up a makeshift coffee stand and food area in their hallway on top of the white creamish carpet. And you're like, they're telling me it's the carpet. I need you to go in and show them. So we came in with our machines, cleaned it up a treat, and now we've got a program in there looking after it. Basically weekly we're in there just on those high traffic passageways.
Because it's white, because it's that light colour.
Well, I think, Colin, I've lost count of the number of times you've done that for us.
Yeah.
Where I've had an issue, I'll give you a ring, you'll go in, you'll do a demo area, show the customer what needs to be done, and pick up a bit of work, which is great. But you solve more importantly, you solve the problem.
You solve
for the
issue, yeah.
That's our Colin. Solving problems every day.
Much the same as what Bob is for interface.
Yes.
I mean, cleaning's, when you understand cleaning, it's quite simple. But when you don't understand it, you don't understand it. You can get yourself into all sorts of trouble, especially with contractors that do it on a cost base. They just go in and and do it very cheap. And they're the calls you get. Oh, we only had it cleaned 2 weeks ago and it looks dirty already.
Yeah, well,
Constantly.
That's a very common complaint for clean.
Yeah.
and you'd ask the question, how did you clean it? And,
Yeah.
And I think facility managers, they've got so many things that they've got to worry about, and flooring is one of the last things they think about oftentimes until they see a problem. And it's the last thing on their agenda. They're walking all over us, literally.
And a really important thing you just said, until they see the problem.
Yeah.
Because a carpet can look clean, as you know, but be quite soiled
Yeah.
within the yarn.
It falls into the yarn, yeah.
Correct. It settles down.
It's until it fills up.
builds up and you see it. That they
And
go,
then you've got a much bigger problem on your
Correct.
hands.
Then you've
Right?
got a
Expensive
restoration
problem.
problem.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
where I suppose those maintenance programs are really crucial.
Yeah.
It's about being, I guess, about being proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah. A lot of people are more reactive.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a bit like, I suppose, like servicing a car. You service your car, it won't break down, whereas carpet, quite often they wait till it breaks down before they try and fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And I guess we've seen carpet that has been maintained on a regular basis since it was installed. From the moment it's installed, it gets maintained, and it lasts 15 years of
Yes.
pushing over that.
Yes.
And-
Extends the life. Yeah.
And then you see carpet in similar facilities with similar foot traffic. They don't maintain it for 5 years, and they've got to replace it within 6 or 7
7.
because
Yeah.
it's just destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sort of on that topic, what are some of the best practices? You've been in so many different types of facilities around healthcare, commercial offices, everything. What are some of the best practices you see happening in facilities at the moment?
I suppose facility managers that understand, stay on the maintenance of the carpet, but there are a lot of facility managers that have got such a big scope that they take care of, and the carpet sort of loses focus again, like I said before, because it looks clean, they think it is clean.
Yeah.
You know, so that's probably
Yeah.
the biggest challenge for them. But like you, I can walk into a building, any sort of building, and you know straight away that carpet's filthy, or boy, they're doing a good job in here. You know, you can pick it up straight away. But that's just from experience.
You pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any situations you've walked into and you've just been like, oh no, like maybe a funny situation or?
Probably the funniest query I ever had, and it came from one of my Asian colleagues. He sent me some photos. Said, "Bob, I've got a problem. I've got mushrooms growing through the carpet." And sure enough, he looked at the photos. But when you lift the carpet up, it was so wet underneath because they hadn't done any moisture testing. They just laid the carpet. The new concrete, it was damp. You get a bit of, especially in Asia where it's warm. Maybe get a bit of soiling on there. Great environment for fungus to grow. And those little pink mushrooms growing out of his carpet.
Wow. You've had some funny calls.
You haven't seen any of those, Carl?
No, I haven't seen any mushrooms growing in the carpet, but my brother had mushrooms growing in his car. when I was young, he had an old Holden, and didn't care for it much. And I remember getting the back seat one day, and there was mushrooms growing in the.
You were telling me you got a call once about only the women in the facilities were getting electric shocks.
Yes.
Have you heard about this?
Yes.
I think I've been on a couple with Cole.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. To find out that what was happening, it's the stockings and the cheap shoes that they're wearing.
Shoes
causes the static. And with the dry air, of course, because it always happens in spring. In spring, you get your dry air coming through, and it dries out the carpet more. And carpet needs moisture.
Yeah.
Like everything has to have a volume of moisture in it.
A certain level, not too much.
I believe carpet should have around, between 11 and 14% moisture. And with the air cons running, because they've been running all winter, and that dry air pumping through the building, and then the air's getting drier outside as well, that combination dries the carpet out more. And if you're going to have, plasticky shoes and stockings, and well, then that friction will give you. They thought it was bites. They thought they were getting bites on their legs from insects.
In the carpet?
Coming from the carpet, insects in the carpet, but we tracked it down that it was
Just their cheap
skate.
shoes. So the next
not
week,
that you tell them that you got cheap shoes.
I can just imagine.
That can happen with our luxury vinyl tile. Occasionally, you get people saying, that my shoes squeak when they walk across the floor.
Yeah.
Which is the type of shoe. It's,
The type of shoe, yes. It's not the vinyl.
You can see that on stone flooring of various types as well.
Yeah.
All the designer footwear brands are going to be so happy that we're talking about this right now.
Spend some money on some good products, yeah.
As you're getting ready to finish up and leave the industry, where do you sort of see the future of the flooring industry heading?
Well, I think modular carpet will still remain a focus. And again, the sustainability aspect, recycled content of product will become more and more important. And if you look at all the major manufacturers, they're all heading down that path. So that'll continue to develop.
Yep.
Unfortunately, in Australia, we don't have a huge population to support a really strong carpet recycling industry.
Yeah.
But we are coming together as all the different manufacturers to make that happen. So I think that's the biggest thing that'll probably happen over the next few years.
Yeah, being able to repurpose it somehow.
Yeah, repurposing is like if you clean it and then reuse it as we'd say refurbished carpet.
Yep.
There's a lot of that going on, but
Yep.
to actually deconstruct the carpet back to some sort of raw material and then put it back into
produce
another
something
carpet
else
tile.
or another tile. Yeah. So, what would you say has been the most challenging situation you've had to walk into, or challenging problem to solve?
Some years back, the standards changed for moisture testing to in situ probe. So all of a sudden, the industry found they had a lot more supposedly wet slabs, and there was a lot more demand to do some sort of moisture mitigation, and that was quite challenging because a lot of the builders weren't ready, or they hadn't allowed for that, and all of a sudden they're up for huge amounts of money to apply that mitigation. And I had quite a lot of meetings around what could be done to sort of offset the cost, which is really difficult because the builders always want to pass risk. They don't want to accept risk, so they'll pass it on to the flooring contractor or the manufacturer to try and get things how they want it without any cost to them. So that was probably quite challenging. And I always remember being up in Brisbane having a discussion with a builder, and he made a very, very good comment. He said, "It's like this, Bob. The floors that we supply you aren't going to change. The concrete isn't going to change. Your flooring materials need to change to be able to be installed over the concrete we give you." And that's happened. There are adhesives now that are far more resistant to higher levels of moisture content and alkalinity content. Products with different backings that are more easy to install on floors that would have been termed damp years ago. So that's been a huge change in the flooring industry.
Yeah, wow. You were mentioning before you guys have known each other for a long time.
20 years or so.
20 plus years.
20 plus years. Is there a moment that you remember, like a most memorable moment out of that 20 years, of a call you received or a job site you went to with Bob?
Oh, there's lots. I'm trying to pinpoint one that stands out more. No, I think we've worked on a lot together. We've worked on a lot, and a lot of them have been quite easy to solve. As I said, most of them are just cleaning issues, that trying to get the client to understand what cleaning is and what dirty carpet is has been the biggest thing.
If I can jump in there, I think when there's a complaint, it's important not to think of it as a complaint, but it's an opportunity.
Yes,
an opportunity to turn that customer around, to provide a solution, which is what Cole's done every time. So I might go in and the customer's absolutely convinced that the problem is the carpet and not their cleaning program. And Colin and I spend a bit of time, and Cole does a presentation, does a trial area, and all of a sudden the customer's going,
"Oh, we can work with this."
It's not such a big issue, as I had thought it was, and away we go. So
Yeah, we call that at Premrest. We call it that's a Colin special, because
Yeah, well, he's very good at
for
doing
most
that.
of the time it's about cleaning. But then sometimes we get Colin coming back to the office and he said they had this problem and we're going to solve it by doing this, and we're like, that's not. We don't know. How are you going to do that, Colin? And so we call it that's a Colin special. And so we've been saying it around the office. We've got T-shirts with it on it, and then a client of ours recently was talking with me, and she brought something up, and she goes, I guess that's a Colin special. And I said, you say it too.
But, you know, it's very important that we understand people buy from people. People,
That's it.
You know,
Yeah.
they got that level of trust, they're going to, you know, move forward with you. So, and again, Cole's very good at doing that.
He
Very
is.
personable.
He is very personable. I think that's where we find most of our success, is the fact that people fall in love with Colin because not only is he a friendly teddy bear, he looks like a scary bikie, but he's just a lovable man. But he just fixes things. Like he gets in there and he finds what the problem is and fixes it.
Well, all things can be fixed, can't they, Bob? And Bob would know that too.
Yeah.
From what you've seen through the industry is that all situations, when it comes to flooring, it can be fixed.
There's always an answer.
There's an answer. There's a solution for why everything happens.
Yeah.
And I think it's important when there's a problem that you look at it from the customer's perspective. So, you know, if you buy a fridge from a retailer and the fridge isn't working, as long as you know they're going to help you out to fix the fridge, you're comfortable to go through the process. But if you don't hear anything, if you shut out, then you're going to get angry and you have a problem. So it's really important to establish that relationship, keep the customer informed of what you're doing, and provide a solution at the end.
Provide the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. What's one piece of advice you would give someone starting out their career in the flooring industry?
You know, there's so much opportunity here. One of the big issues, obviously, we need more installers. For young people, I say installing is it's a great job. It's physically hard, but it's really well paid. And if you do the apprenticeship, at the end of that apprenticeship, it provides you with knowledge and experience that you can step into something like your role or my role. I came from a trade background, you know, so lots of people that I've met in the industry of business owners come from a trade background, you know, because they've been able to move forward, learn more, get more experience, and continually improve themselves. So there's great opportunity in the industry for young people to do that if that's what they want to do.
Exactly.
I love that.
And I've experienced that same thing. I started 30 years ago, or 30-something years ago, as a carpet installer, installing carpet tiles with a company in Melbourne. And now I'm here. So it just, it's good grounding, it's good understanding about flooring, all sorts of flooring. And, you know, it's your choice what you can do from there, what direction you can go in. You don't have to be flooring for the rest of your life installing, but it opens so many other doors. It's up to yourself to walk through the doors.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
My first job was cleaning carpets for Premier, before it became Premrest. Colin used to give us calls, hey, are you going into this building tonight? There was no rosters. It was done the good old school way, you know. And went off into the wilderness for a while, and now I'm back.
He's back.
I'm back, baby. As you look back over your career and the time you've had in the industry, what's something you're probably most proud of across that time?
I suppose it's the fact, I hope that what I put in the industry is help people develop themselves, you know, I've tried to mentor people and coach people through, and if someone comes to me with an issue, it's because that's really important to them. So I try and treat my response in the same way. You know, I know you've asked me for some help, so it's important to you. So I'll focus my attention to that to respond to you. You know, there's nothing worse than going to someone looking for some help, and you don't hear back from them. You know, and you sit there and you're frustrated. So I think I hope I've been able to provide that you know, level of confidence for people that they've learned from me. You know, that type of thing. probably the main thing. I remember years ago thinking that's what I wanted to achieve. So hopefully people do look at it that way.
You're retiring after a lifelong career in this industry. What's next for Bob Foletta?
A lot more time with my family, my grandkids. I've got 7 grandkids. I want to do more with them.
Yeah.
School holidays, go away camping and just
excellent.
those enjoyable things.
Yeah.
Maybe not get phone calls, from 6 in the morning to 7 at night or on weekends like you can, because being responsible for a large region, the time frames are always all over the place.
Yeah.
Just having a more family oriented and
Excellent.
that's probably my main aim.
I'm sure you're going to be missed. There are lots of people who would have you on speed dial. And
I've been thinking about doing a bit of consulting once my time with Interface is over. Whether I actually move there or not, I don't know. But that's always a possibility. Yeah.
As we wrap up, is there any final thoughts or parting wisdom you'd give us?
That's a big question. I think just be open and honest and as helpful as you can to people in my role that come to me for help or advice.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Bob.
I appreciate the invitation to come along and chat with you.
Yeah, not just for the time here, but your time you've spent in the industry, and you've been a lot of
help. And the
help.
relationship we've had has been fantastic, and it's been great.
Oh, it's been a lot of value to me.
It's been a big part of my life.
And vice versa.
Fantastic. Thanks.
All right. Cheers.